So good morning again. As I said, I'm Colin Christie. I'm the president of the Analytics Association of the Philippines. It's great to have you all here for actually the launch of our digital transformation series on the topic of life insurance industry. And today's event is being presented in partnership with PruLife UK. So we thank PruLife, an AAP member company, for their involvement and participation today. Just go here to the program. So the webinar topic is really very exciting because we know in this time we're undergoing so much digital transformation. And so we actually had a great discussion earlier this year with one of our newest corporate members, PruLife, to collaborate on this project. As a company, PruLife takes pride in supporting multi-stakeholder discussions on timely issues and developments in the life insurance industry. And I was very interested to learn that last year in 2019, PruLife actually commissioned a pioneering white paper entitled Mobile Digital Health in the Philippines to assess the readiness of the country's legal and regulatory framework for disruptive mobile health technologies. And then that was followed by the launch of their Healthscape Dialogue series this year to continue the conversation about the key findings in the paper. So as you can see, PruLife has been very involved in digital transformation and mobile digital health especially. We also put out a press release together, you may have seen a few weeks back, when they established their AI and Data Analytics Center. So of course, as the Analytics Association, we were very excited to see these kinds of things happening here in the Philippines. So the PruLife AI and Data Analytics Center is designed to encourage discussions on emerging industry topics such as big data and insurance, to support its advocacies on mobile health and digital transformation. We also just would like to encourage you to check out PruLife UK's Pulse. This is an app. You can find it for iPhone or Android. It's a free AI-powered all-in-one health management app designed to empower Filipinos to protect their health and prevent and postpone against the onset of diseases through a variety of advanced self-help tools. And obviously in this, once in a century era we're in here with the global pandemic, our health is even obviously a more relevant topic. So it's great to see companies in the industry, really putting together the skill set for analytics and AI and bringing valuable solutions to the marketplace. So again, we're just very appreciative to have this partnership. Okay, so moving on to our program, you can see that we have 4 speakers for you this morning. First, we're going to have Kelly Chao, who's the Senior Director of Customer Intelligence and Analytics for Prudential Corporation in Asia. Kelly, if you can turn on your video for a moment so we can greet you. Good morning.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Sorry for that little technical hiccup this morning.
Okay.
That's the world we're in now, but luckily we got everything working. So we're very
thank you.
excited, and we'll be introducing you in a moment. And then following Kelly, we're very appreciative to have Attorney Anna from the National Privacy Commission joining us this morning to speak on the role of the data privacy regulator in the digital transformation of the insurance industry. Good morning, Attorney Anna. Thank you very much for being here.
Good morning, everybody. It's
Yes.
a pleasure to be with you today.
And then, of course, we have a couple of my fellow trustees in the Analytics Association of the Philippines. First, Mon Ibrahim. Greetings. Good to see you.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being with us this morning.
Great. You're looking great, Mon.
Thank you,
Mon is the co-chair, along with Sherwin, of our AAP Policy Research and Insights Council. And for those of you who are AAP members, I encourage you to join us in coming up in the next couple of weeks for our general membership meeting, because we're very excited to announce 4 new councils that we have formed, and this one, the Policy Research and Insights Council, being one of them. And then last but certainly not least, we have Sherwin, who again co-chairs the Policy Insights Research and Insights Council along with Mon. And Mon will be speaking about how we bridge government, industry, and academe analytics policy. And then Sherwin will follow up talking about our maturity framework for organizations, which we think is really a great contribution of the association. Then we've reserved a little bit of time for a Q&A. Unfortunately, Mon won't be able to stay for that. So please, if you have questions for Mon during his talk, please put them into the Q&A here in Zoom. You'll see, for those of you new to Zoom, might seem like I am, given this morning's problems, but actually not. Just put your question in the Q&A, and we'll be sure to try to get a question or two to Mon before he leaves. So with that, I will be turning it over to Kelly. Good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sure. Okay, so this is the first cartoon that talk about data solving the problems, and is how it is the unicorn to be the magic wand to make our business all better. The second one, robots are taking over all the jobs, but honestly, there are always some jobs that better human is better. Obviously, not in this context of cheating on our tax. In reality, is fast forward to today, after so much talks and hype about analytic. True, today we have a lot of problems that AI and data have solved, but there's still a lot more problems to be solved, along with new ones added along the way. While AI is great, and certainly there are some things that humans are more superior, but there's no doubt that AI will continue to get smarter, and it will be interesting how AI intelligence, would complement the human intelligence in our everyday life, and that I believe will continue to evolve. So today I'd like to share how Prudential harness the power of data and AI to deliver value to our customer, and continue to simplify our process to improve the experience the customer is doing business with us. So by adopting more a customer-centric approach, we look for opportunities to add value along the life cycle. To add value along the customer life cycle, which can be summarized broadly as during the early stage when customer is doing research and finding out what their needs are, to the next stage and when they're actually buying a policy. So during the first stage, we help our customer to learn more about the health, educate them about the various health risks, and providing tips to help them stay healthier. And when customers become more aware of what their needs are, we help them to identify the relevant solutions and services that meet their needs and make it simple and hassle-free for them to buy. And based on what we know their needs are, we always look for suitable products and services that they may be interested in. And when they actually need help for policy servicing, such as, for example, adding a beneficiary name, finding out what their benefit coverage are, we provide on-demand services leveraging the digital technology. And last but not least, when they need to make a claim, a very important moment, we make it simple and really quick with their approval decisions. And with that in mind, we have implemented a number of new capabilities to transform our customer experience with the use of data, AI, and digital technology. And today I have prepared some examples about these use cases to share with you. So the first one is what we call the Next Best Offer. Next Best Offer is our real-time offer recommendation platform. While customers are discussing with their financial consultant about the needs and coming with the appropriate solutions using our sales tools, the data is actually ingested real time to allow us to find potential gaps and to recommend products, additional products the customer should consider. So just imagine your online shopping experience with Amazon, where you often see product recommendations based on what you're buying or what people similar to profile of yours are buying. And behind the scene, the recommendations are powered by AI-driven algorithm. So what goes into the automatic recommendation platforms actually is far more complex than just looking at what the customer is buying or what other people have bought. By leveraging the data capture across all our systems, we also consider what the customer's needs are, what their profile obviously, and if they are existing customer, what products they have already with us. And obviously, for products that we recommend, we need to make sure that those are affordable and suitable to the customers. And also whether they would meet our underwriting requirements. So if it is clear that the customer don't meet, not likely meet our requirement, we will not offer those products, or we will not suggest them to our customer because it adds no value. And in contrary, it actually would create bad experience when customer actually got interested, submit the application, and only to find out that they are declined for the product. In the past, buying insurance is a very time-consuming process. Let alone be really uninteresting because of a very lengthy application form, which is designed to cover all products, all disclosure, finding out about your life primarily, and customer of all types. With smart underwriting, the list of questions that are required are determined dynamically on the fly based on what we know about the customers, and they respond to the questions that customer provides. These questions are thoughtfully crafted and supported by what we call behavioral science to make them really, really easy for our customer to understand, and therefore allowing customer to provide more accurate information. Aside from that, smart underwriting also incorporate obviously our underwriting guidelines and rules, and all of that are wrapped and executed within our automation systems. So let's take a look at the example of a customer, who have disclosed that he's into mountaineering and scuba diving, which are considered as risky activities. So we need to find out more about them and what kind of activities, as opposed to filling up again pages after pages of questionnaires. With dynamic questioning, only relevant question related to mountaineering and scuba diving would be asked, such as how often and where the customer engage in such activities, and whether they have any upcoming plans, so that we can properly assess the risk. And for those who bought life insurance, I think you would all agree that making a claim would be the moment of truth for buying insurance. So it is very important, and this is a time when Prudential, we deliver our promise to customers. So it is very important that the process is simple and the experience is frictionless as much as possible while we collect the information we need. So with smart underwriting, our customer can submit their claims at the fingertips, guided by a service chatbot, taking pictures of the required documentations and submit them using their phone. And be notified right away, whether their claims are approved, or be informed whether additional review or documentation will be needed. And if so, along the way, we keep our customer informed of their claim status. Obviously, agents are always there to help with the process if customer prefer. And to be able to do that, make instant claim approval while still managing the risk of abuse, wastage, and fraud, we leverage a lot of data. Data specific about the submitted claims, the informations about, what diagnosis and medical and past history of the customer, plus past claim history of the customer, information about the financial consultant that are servicing the customer, the associated hospital, clinics, medical centers, and doctor, for example. All this data is consumed for us to look for pattern, detect anomaly, whether something is actually outside of the range of reasonableness. allow us to look at potential network or linkage amongst the key constituents, such as a customer, financial consultant, doctor, that may appear as systematic abuse and fraud. Okay, so with that, actually, I would like to share a video what it all means when we stitch up all these, data-driven capabilities to deliver value to our customer along the customer lifecycle end to end. So let me try to play a video here. So all these capabilities are live in some of our markets, and we are working with businesses across the region to localize this capability. So aside from bringing convenience and value to our customer through these digital transformation initiatives, we have also been building a digital health ecosystem, Pulse, to realize our ambitions for helping our customer to live healthier and longer. So with that, I'd like to share another video.
How do you do health? Well, you run, and then you run more. What if you can't run? You walk. Non-stop. What if you can't walk? You swim. That's nice, right? What if you're already running, walking, and swimming? That's awesome. Now sleep. What if you wake up feeling like it's Monday, even on Friday? Let's talk it out. It'll help improve your mind, your mood, and perhaps even your appetite. Whoa, 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 slow down. Hey, you shouldn't eat that. Oh, but you can. In fact, you could eat more. It's not double standards, it's just that different people have different health needs. Whether you're older, younger, bigger, smaller, no two people are alike. And Pulse by Prudential knows that. Using the latest deep learning AI technology, it's the only app that understands your body and responds to your health needs and yours alone. The best part, it's available to everyone. I meant people? Yeah, that's right. Together we can run, walk, swim, eat healthier, and even sleep better.
All right, okay. So that's Pulse. Pulse is our health ecosystem in Asia, which encapsulate all the digital services that we believe essential to help our customer prevent, postpone, and protect against illness so they can live longer. Okay. So so it includes services such as the health assessment, symptom tracker, telemedicine, as well as different kind of wellness services to motivate our customer to stay fit, eat better, sleep better, develop a more healthier lifestyle. Pulse is free for everyone to download. So people out in the countryside or in the rural area can access these digital services 24/7 as they need them. It was first launched in Malaysia mid last year and then make available in Philippines this year. So within a couple of months of making Pulse available, we actually have over 2 million downloads in Philippines, and the number keeps increasing. And aside from staying fit and healthy, to make protections available to more people in support of health and financial inclusions, we have also been working hard to develop some simple bite-sized products, so more people can benefit from having some basic protections against unforeseeable events that may add stress to the family and the loved ones. Prudential operates in 30 markets, and so obviously different markets have different needs, and therefore the list of services and products that are available, may not be exactly the same for each market. We are working hard to evolve Pulse as we experiment, listen to feedback of our customers, and also incorporate the learnings along the way to iteratively make these digital services better and deliver more values to our customer. So with that, that's the end of my sharing. Thank you.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much, Kelly. It's quite exciting to see, as a bit of a tech person myself, all of these pieces coming together, to address the customer. There's a lot of moving parts in there, I'm sure, to make it all work, and I'm sure that's the challenge, right? And
yes, definitely.
And maybe during the Q&A, we'll address a little bit about how do you bring some of these moving parts together. We do have some questions coming in to the Q&A. We'll reserve those for a Q&A session at the end of the program. I just want to acknowledge, thank you. And I see you there, Ed from Science and Digital News. Thanks for being here. You have a great question too. Just be patient and we'll address that at the Q&A session, as well as Daniel and a couple of the others that have asked. So Attorney Anna from NPC is next up, she's going to be speaking to us about the role of the data privacy regulator in all of this digital transformation that's happening. So again, Attorney Anna, thank you so much for being here, and I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you for keeping me on top of your mind, Colin. Yes, welcome everybody. So let me just start. Again, good morning everybody. I am Attorney Anna Benjieline Puzon from the National Privacy Commission. So most often than not, the National Privacy Commission is often seen as a regulator or an entity that prohibits and inhibits the use of technological advancements with regard to data privacy. However, this is far from the truth. The NPC is well aware of the developments in data processing systems, especially with the increasing trend of using big data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning processing for online intermediary services, such as those used in analytics and the insurance industry. The use of such innovation has enabled the insurance sector, as well as other industries, to tailor fit its products and services, making them more capable of providing affordable products and services to a wider range of customers, as what Ms. Kelly told us a while ago. From the beginning, the Commission has not shied away in exploring and supporting emerging technologies that would bring about a robust and sustainable economy. However, such innovation may prove to be both boon and bane for the reason that while progress and development is assured, it likewise presents risks to the freedoms and privacy of the individuals availing of such services when the same is left unbridled and unchecked. Among the data privacy issues encountered when utilizing big data includes capturing the data, data storage, transfer of data, and retention of the same. Because of these issues, personal information controllers using big data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning processing are reminded to uphold the data subject's rights at all times, particularly to their right to information and access. And by implementing policies to address the concerns of data subjects and providing all the necessary information to them, including the fact that their personal information will be used for different processing activities, such as for profiling, automated processing, or whenever their information will be utilized for further processing. In the use of big data, data collection is crucial. Thus, there is an increasing trend in utilizing numerous information sensing Internet of Things devices, such as mobile devices, software logs, cameras, microphones, radio frequency identification readers, and wireless sensor networks. Or, as Ms. Kelly have shown a while ago, We can also use the mobile applications of our mobile phones. In the insurance industry, it is now common to utilize information coming from brokers in order to obtain a client's diagnosis, date of confinement, place of confinement, cause of confinement, and procedures done, among others. Since they are processing personal and sensitive personal information, the brokers are likewise covered by the provisions of the Data Privacy Act. Brokers from whom big data is collected may be considered as personal information controllers in their own right because the brokers control the processing of the personal data they collect. They determine what personal data to collect and how such information will be used, independent from the purpose of the insurers. Since brokers collect health information considered as sensitive personal information, these brokers must also anchor its processing on any of the various lawful criteria under Section 13 of the Data Privacy Act. Being personal information controllers in their own right, insurers must ensure that brokers are likewise accountable with respect to the personal data they process. The Commission is aware that various technologies such as big data is utilized. The emergence of such digital technologies and platforms is indeed a welcome development. However, the Commission likewise remains committed in championing the rights of individuals against those who will fail to counterbalance the benefits of these technologies over the rights and liberties of the data subjects. This being the case, data collection should at all times be lawful, proportionate, and necessary in relation to the purposes for which it is being collected. As such, collection of personal data must not be excessive in relation to the purpose of granting an insurance product or services. Indeed, digitalization has not only broken boundaries, it has likewise caused the blurring of the lines in how the insurance industry offer and provide their products and services. Nowadays, it is common to offer not only insurance products, but all other allied services it may deem appropriate. However, such practice entails further processing of information to which the data subjects must be apprised, since further processing of personal data may be allowed provided it is compatible with the primary purpose. However, if the purpose is no longer compatible to the primary purpose, personal information controllers must ensure that such processing is based on a separate lawful criterion. Online intermediary service providers, which are being utilized by the insurance industries nowadays, must also consider that the technologies they are now offering makes their products and services more accessible to vulnerable groups. This necessitates the Commission to wield a more stringent approach to ensure that the rights of the vulnerable sector is not taken advantage of, and avoid the possible disequilibrium this may ensue. In introducing innovation, the insurance industry may experience pushbacks and doubts from their consumers, especially those that were previously underserved. It is in this case that personal information controllers are mandated to practice transparency at all times. This can be done by providing an explanation in plain language of why data is being collected and for which purposes the same shall be utilized. Insurers should likewise assure data subjects that operational processes are compliant with the Data Privacy Act. Another way to assure the public is to put in place adequate operational, technological, and security measures. By doing so, the insurer lessens the risk of data breach, which in turn avoids financial and reputational risks. From time to time, impact assessments must also be done to guarantee that the security measures put in place are still effective. However, the Commission's role do not stop there because merely regulating an emerging technology will only stunt its development, rendering it impossible to bring about the growth and development our country aspires. Thus, the Commission likewise works as an enabler, working hand in hand with the online intermediary service providers through capacity development and interventions to ensure that their processes, operations, and information and communication systems are secured and protected and at par with the data security standards set across the globe. With this, the National Privacy Commission has launched several initiatives like the yearly Privacy Awareness Week every May, aside from the DPOAs and DPO summits being held across the country and across several industries. In fact, the Commission is unyielding in its quest to ensure that the Philippines is abreast with the latest developments in data privacy. This being the case, the NPC continues to be in the forefront of data privacy protection, collaborating with international data privacy experts and regulators in order to ensure that we are abreast with the latest developments happening around the globe. These new learnings obtained in the international front are then cascaded through the DPO Journal and the Privacy Wall, among others, to reach the various industries and ensure that they remain to be global players, especially since technological advances are growing at an exponential rate. The National Privacy Commission is likewise involved in dialogues with the different industries in order to ensure that the Commission understands how various industries operates. It is in this premise that we have the breakfast with the Commissioner, wherein representatives of various industries are invited. By doing so, we ensure that the policies and regulations we impose are neither taxing, burdensome, nor oppressive, and that the assistance and guidance we provide to the general public is always relevant and up to date. As consumers shift to digital platforms in the wake of these emerging technologies, the Commission encourages industries to adopt the privacy by design approach by embedding privacy into its digital platforms even from the onset. By doing so, data privacy becomes a culture at the organizational level, making it much more easier to adopt processes and policies changes. By implementing the privacy by design approach, the design and implementation of procedures and systems must be in accordance with the privacy and data protection already at their planning stage and during the whole duration of the processing, notably through the use of privacy-enhancing technologies. They should also take appropriate measures against the development and use of technologies which are aimed wholly or partly at the illicit circumvention of technological measures protecting privacy. By doing so, personal information controllers will ensure that privacy risks posed by these technologies are aptly mitigated. Through all of this, personal information controllers are assured that the Commission will ever be present to provide guidance and support to help promote widespread trust, accountability, and responsibility to the insurance industry. By doing so, the Commission hopes to guarantee the success of such technologies and innovations, helping national development and spurring the economy. That would be all, Colin. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Attorney Anna. And I've had the opportunity to interact with NPC in various capacities, and I just want to say and pass along to the team there. It's really great that in the Philippines we have a regulator who views themselves as a true partner with the broader community, but as well as with industry, and I think that really comes across. And that also came across in your presentation. I think the information you presented is very useful. I hope you can also stick around for the Q&A portion. I'm sure there's already actually a couple questions that intersect with the privacy topic. So thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Colin. See you later.
All right. So Next up is Monchito Ibrahim, who co-chairs our Policy Research and Insights Council at AAP, former USEC for DICT, as well as also distinguished business career before that as well. I think so many of us know you, Mon. We're very appreciative of your time, and I'll turn the floor over to you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Colin. Can I request Attorney Anna to actually close this slide share so I can share my slides as well? Thank you. Just give me a couple of minutes.
No worries. Okay, we see.
There you go. Okay.
You're good to go.
Thank you, everyone. This is actually just, this is going to be a quick presentation. Just wanted to introduce to you the mission of the Analytics Association of the Philippines, as well as the role that the Policy Research and Insights Council of AAP actually play in our mission of building the analytics ecosystem of the Philippines. Before diving into the specific initiatives that we in the council are currently undertaking, let me just present to you where AAP is in the ecosystem, analytics ecosystem of the Philippines. So the analytics ecosystem, this is the analytics, this is how we actually look at the analytics ecosystem of the Philippines, okay? And AAP intends to actually connect with government as well as academe, and including the industry itself and other organizations to really help create and develop the elements required to get a more robust ecosystem in the Philippines. Our aim is to number one, make life better for everyone, and make the Philippines a significant player in the global analytics services ecosystem. So diving into the specific functions of the Policy Research and Insights Council, we actually help in the execution of the roadmap for a data-driven Philippines. In the early years of AAP, it was basically spent on laying the foundation for the ecosystem to actually further develop, like looking at what's happening outside of the Philippines, as well as looking at initiatives that are being undertaken within the Philippines. Okay, we also took the opportunity to develop initial frameworks and models. Also in collaboration with other entities. For example, in the region, we also work with ASEAN to actually develop and test drive some of this framework, and also in piloting the models that we have developed. The next years, including this year, will actually very, very focused on enabling the adoption, is capacity building, educating the key ecosystem stakeholders, okay, on the frameworks and models that we have developed, and getting them, entities, to actually adopt the frameworks themselves, and also trying to actually make the AAP as an organization more inclusive. We've seen in the past, from where we were in last year up to this year, despite the pandemic, we've actually seen a significant increase in our membership because of the work that we've actually been doing. From here on, 2021 onwards, we're actually going to help drive innovation in the analytics ecosystem, expanding the implementation and adoption of our frameworks and models, as well as updating these frameworks and models, and hopefully be able to also share best practices to the global analytics ecosystem. Now, the AAP Policy Research and Insights Council are currently working on several initiatives, but on the frameworks that we have developed, we have actually developed the professional maturity model, which is actually now being used by a lot of schools, and because this is actually this is intended to make them understand a little bit better, the different roles that data professionals are actually playing in the real world. So they get to see that it's actually not just about data scientists. There are also data engineers and other roles that specific practitioners can actually play in their own organization. We also have the organizational maturity model, which is actually being used by different entities to assess where they are in the adoption of analytics in their organization. And then finally, we've also launched the Smart City Maturity Model, where we're hoping that our different LGUs can actually use this maturity model to help them move up the value chain as far as getting the most out of their digital transformation initiatives are actually concerned. Okay, currently we're involved in different national projects together with the Bureau of Product Standards of the Department of Trade and Industry. We're actually part of the IT the committee working on the IT standards for the Philippines, and big data is definitely one of the bigger bigger elements that where AAP is very much involved with. We're also working with the Philippine Business for Education as well as DTI for for the development of a national skills framework, and including that of both from the dimension of qualifications as well as dimension of competence development. Okay. And then finally, we're very active in working with our legislative bodies. That would include the lower house as well as in the Senate. Okay, in trying to actually push for legislative initiatives that will really help develop not just the analytics ecosystem in the Philippines, but generally the Philippine digital, the development of the Philippines as a digital economy, making it the economy very trustworthy. Okay, very transparent and very efficient. We believe that if we work together with our different stakeholders, would actually be able to create more innovation for the country, and of course more jobs for the Filipinos, as well as really position the Philippines as a significant player in the global digital economy. So I'll end my presentation here, and my apologies. I won't be able to actually join you for the Q&A, but I have with me here Colin, our president, as well as my co-chair in the Policy Research and Insights Council, Sherwin Pelayo, to actually help answer some of your questions. So with this, thank you so much once again for being with us this morning, and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you so much. Colin?
All right. Thank you very much, Mon, for that. And thanks for giving the overview. I know you have to run, so we'll take it from here.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And just before I introduce Sherwin, I know it's great to have an audience today from the insurance industry. Also, I'd like to give special thanks and acknowledgement to the folks in the media who are attending our event today. I think it's very important to communicate, speaking of media, that it's essential for all of the sectors to work together, the policymakers along with the industry players such as PruLife UK, and the academic sector, of course, the practitioners, and even down to faculty and students and individual practitioners. And so that's the essence of what we're trying to do, not only with the AAP and the Policy Research and Insights Council, but with building bridges, building relationships with members such as PruLife UK here in the Philippines, and then together, and of course with the regulators, we can all work together and really help to provide tremendous value to the public, to the consumers here, but also make the Philippines, very important, make the Philippines very globally competitive. And I think we're well on the way to doing that. So as you could see from Mon's presentation, how those pieces come together. So with that, then our final speaker before we launch into our Q&A session with the speakers is Sherwin Pelayo, who's our co-chair, as we've already mentioned, of the council, who's going to be speaking to us today about analytics maturity framework. So, right, we need to continue to improve our maturity levels of understanding of these topics, and so that's what we're going to talk to you a little bit about this morning with Sherwin. Sherwin, turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Colin. Good morning, everyone. This is actually new for me. AAP's meetups are usually in the evening, so this is the first time I'm actually greeting everyone good morning, or at least good evening if you're from the United States or from a different country. I think we do have participants from other countries outside of the Philippines. So actually, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. So my discussion for today is a bit more generic because it talks about the maturity framework for organizations and not really just focus on insurance for insurance, the insurance industry. But while we are in the topic of optimizing big data, one of the measures on how an organization is optimizing big data and analytics in their organization is this maturity framework that Mon actually discussed earlier. We do have a professional maturity model which talks about how professionals, individuals, can progress their careers in analytics given certain proficiency levels and certain competencies. This time around, we are going to discuss maturity framework for organizations. Okay. And I know we do have members from PruLife and of course Kelly here. I probably let's try to assess our own organizations. How mature we are based on this model. The very first thing that we always tell organizations if you really want to start your analytics journey, is that analytics in your organization should be business driven. It should not be IT driven. And this is the model that we're actually, using and proposing. This is based out of Laurson's and Torland's business analytics model from their book Business Analytics for Managers, Taking Business Intelligence Beyond Reporting. Analytics will always have to be business driven. It always has to come from the top. Okay, it's going to be. It should all be aligned to the business goals, strategies, key process indicators. So it's always going to be, should be, the organization's leadership who would define the business strategy. And then from there on, looking at the left side, where you have the information demand, they will be the ones who's actually going to ask, okay, the IT, which is, at the bottom, we need this data so that we can make informed decisions and we can make insights out of the data that we need. Okay, so it trickles down to the functional analyst, the various departments within the organization, which should have departmental goals that should be aligned to the overall company's goals. You then meet with data scientists because they will be able to help those functional analysts tell, okay, if these are the insights that you would like to get out of, um, the data that you have, then the data scientist will tell you, then we need this type of data. We need this much of data using their, mathematics and statistics expertise. They'll be able to do that. Okay. You then proceed with data engineers because the data engineers will be the ones collecting those information, and then the data stewards and the IT professionals, they'll be the one helping you source out that data. So we move from a business-driven environment to a technically oriented environment, getting the needs of the organizations from the leadership down to the information that is required to answer the questions needed by the leadership. And going to the right side, we supply that information. And that constitutes a cycle. So the main idea here, again, is that analytics should be driven by the business. Okay, IT is an enabler. IT will support, but it is the business who should drive all of your analytics initiatives in your organization. The organizational maturity model that we are using in the AAP is based on Davenport's, Harris, and Morrison's Analytics at Work, Smarter Decisions, Better Results. And it is based on measuring at 5 levels, 5 maturity levels, 7 components. This is the delta TA that Davenport, Harris and Morrison is calling. So data, enterprise, leadership, targets, the analytics professionals that you have in your organization. They added 2 in the new version of their book. This would include the technology and analytical techniques. So it's a delta TA model. These are the stages of analytical maturity, starting from level 1, where the organization lacks one or several of the prerequisites for serious analytical work. So basically, no one is actually doing analytics in the organization. Okay, more often than not, decisions are based on gut feel and the experience of senior leadership, which is not always the bad case. There's a separate we can have a separate discussion on how gut feel and experience will also help make better decisions. Okay. The second maturity level is localized analytics, meaning that there are certain departments in the organization who are doing analytics already. It could be HR, it could be finance, it could be marketing, but they are pockets. They are not integrated as one, as a whole in the organization. At level 3, this is where the organization is envisioning a more analytical future. This is where an organization starts to integrate all of the analytics initiatives in the various departments into one. Progress might still be slow because some of the critical factors in the Delta TA model may be difficult to implement. At the 4th level, this is where a company becomes an analytical organization. Okay? They now have the people, the strategy, the targets, the people, the technology to actually drive the decisions that they need to make be more data driven. Okay, so these organizations would continuously now use data as part of their strategy to continue operating. Okay, that's level 4, and most organizations would be happy to stop at this level. But if an organization wants to compete in their domain, in their industry, and be a leader in the industry, they need to strive for level 5. This is where an organization will use data as a distinctive business capability, as a strategy to take the lead in the domain that they are in. Okay. So each of the Delta TA components will have characteristics of each of these 5. I will not go through them in detail. The recording of this presentation is going to be available in our Facebook page for your review. But I will just go through very quickly, what each of the Delta components are. Data means having integrated, high quality, easily accessible data. Let's focus on level 4s and level 5. Okay, an analytical organization will have integrated, accurate, common data in central repositories. Okay, so IT is able to bring all of those data, from the spreadsheets of one person to a reporting dashboard of another person. They're able to integrate that in a single repository, usually a single data warehouse or a single data lake for the organization. Okay, if anyone asks about if they can access certain data, the data stewards will be able to point them to this central location. So they basically have the golden, the version, single version of truth at level 4. At level 5, there's now relentless search for new data. Okay, so they're not really just relying anymore on the data that they produce, but they might also be looking into data that is available publicly or outside of the organization, and they view data now as a strategic asset. They now put value actually into the data that they collect and they process. At the enterprise component means that you are now an organization manages analytics resources in a coordinated fashion across the enterprise. So at level 4, it's not only the data that you manage, but the organization also manages the technology, the analytics professionals from an enterprise perspective. Usually at level 2, someone will probably use Power BI. The other one, another department will use Tableau. The other department will still be using Excel. At level 4, all of these are centrally managed already. At level 5, these resources, the data, the technology, the people, are now enterprise priorities of the organization. The leadership level, this is important. Okay, you need to have strong, committed leadership that understands the importance of analytics and they constantly advocate the use in decision and actions. You need to have leaders who set the targets and who would always question, the information that is being provided by data. At level 4, you have senior leaders who develop analytical plans and build analytical capabilities. At level 5, these leaders would request for data and use those insights for analytical competition. Okay. Targets. This is the T in Delta. Okay. So being able to select the right strategic organizational targets that will be the core of an analytics roadmap. So at level 4, you need to be able to determine which of your business domains would have a strategic target that can be answered by data. And then, so that your organization will be able to continuously operate. At level 5, you should have targets that will allow your organization, again, to compete with others in your similar industry or similar domain. Analytics professionals is also important, definitely. You won't be able to do analytics if you don't have the right people in your organization. So organizations should be able to nurture high-performing analytics professionals. So at level 4, the organization is conscious in explicitly recruiting, developing, deploying, and engaging highly capable analytics professionals. At level 5, analytics is also introduced to the rest of the organizations. The organization. It is not just limited to having data scientists or data engineers, but the organization is developing also the other roles within their ranks. Data stewards, the functional analysts, and the analytics managers. The last two that Davenport, Harris, and Morrison added in the model in the second edition of their book, because of the advancements in technologies and methods in analytics, are technology and the analytical techniques. So the technology just means that there are existing technologies that will support analytics across the organization. At level 4, again, there's the coordinated planning of what technology is being used. You put in, you an organization might even start to look into cloud-based analytics. Okay. At level 5, there are more sophisticated enterprise-wide big data and analytics infrastructure that do the more advanced analytics. Okay. The last one would be the analytical techniques. These are the various analytical techniques, ranging from the simple descriptive statistics to machine learning. So at level 4, you have those predictive, advanced predictive methods, the optimization, sentiment analytics. At level 5, you now have the more even leading to AI. I think that was what Kelly actually described earlier in her presentation. So you do have the neural nets, deep learning, genetic algorithms, advanced machine learning. Okay. If there's still a question on how to start being your journey into being a data-driven organization, again, this is kind of a roadmap that is being suggested by the framework. Okay, if you're at stage 1, you need to make a decision first. Okay, do you actually have full management support? Do you have leaders who will be able to champion the analytics initiatives in your organization? If you don't, then you go to the right side. You need to do proof of concepts. You need to prove first that analytics will really help your organization. And this is where you do localized analytics. Choose a department that will do your proof of concept and that will prove to the rest of the organization that analytics will work. If you're in this branch of the roadmap, this is critical because if you don't succeed, then you go to the terminal stage. That's the red one. If you're not able to prove at this point that analytics is going to work, then all of your efforts might not be receive full management support, and they will continue to question the value of analytics. However, if you are successful, you can move to stage 3. You can also move to stage 3 if you do have full management support. And then you move from stage 3, analytical aspirations, then you go into maturing all of the Delta TA components into stage 4. And then if the organization so desires to be more competitive in their industry or domain, they can opt to go to stage 5, being an analytical competitor. So just some key takeaway points from this presentation. One, in truly analytical organizations, analytics is embedded in the major process of the organization. Again, it is driven by the business, and analytics comprise the workers' activities of the enterprise. Okay, within these organizations, these analytical organizations, they continuously build and reinforce a culture of analytical decisions. I think what Attorney Anna mentioned also, building this, data culture in an organization where you test and learn, and there's definitely continuous commitment to fact-based decision making. Lastly, analytical organizations are never really satisfied, and they are always mindful of how conditions change. This year has proven to be that. I think everyone was surprised with what's going on in 2020, and analytical organizations, truly digital organizations, are mindful of these changes and are very quick to adapt to these changes. So they continuously review their assumptions, their analytical models to stay ahead of the game. So that's it. This is again more of a generic presentation of the organizational maturity model that could actually apply across all of the industries, across all of the sectors, where data is being used to derive insights and actions for decision making in an organization. Thank you very much. Colin, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Sherwin. Stay with us, Sherwin, and I'd like to invite Attorney Anna and also Kelly from Prudential to rejoin us on the video. So we do have a few minutes. So I want to also thank our audience. They've been very engaged throughout the program, and we've had a lot of questions come in. Some of them have already been answered on the Q&A. But maybe I could start with you, Kelly. There's a question about how. Well, let me start with the big question, the big vision question. So not really in order that came in. The question is, what is PRULI's vision for big data in the Philippines? Are there opportunities for local data scientists? What help do you need from government? So a couple questions in there. And you're muted. You're still muted.
All right.
There you go.
Definitely opportunity from local scientists. I think it is. I hope it transpired quite clearly for some of the use cases, and what the company is working on is truly, in embracing the power and data. To the level that it's beyond what we can deliver as a human, but we can only kind of get there with data and analytic, and to be able to get there, we just need to leverage all the analytic resource that we can get our hands on. I think Sherwin mentioned it. It's important to to cultivate and develop this kind of skill set, which is still scarce today, I would say. Although I think there are a lot of I guess university and schools and producing data scientists on book. I want to emphasize the work on book, because to be truly be able to develop something and put it in in practice, it's beyond what one can learn with book knowledge. You have to have a lot of applied experience. You have to also translate from business context. How do you translate the business context into solving an analytical problem? So those skill sets you cannot get in school. You kind of have to develop along the way. So obviously, we cannot count on, for example, the regional to supply this, demand of data scientists. We have to, find good talents everywhere, obviously, including the local talents as well.
Right. Yeah, great. So we have a question. We actually have several questions, Attorney Anna, that are coming in related to privacy or data or even security. In one instance, there's a question about, I guess, a hack that happened in Israel where an insurance firm got hit with a ransom demand, and obviously that's a very difficult situation. And I guess in that case, data was released because of failure to pay ransom and all. Maybe I don't know, if this topic comes across often for NPC, but what guidance would you give for any firm that ends up in a similar situation?
Thank you for that, Colin. Well, actually, that is where privacy impact assessments plays a great role, because as I've said, you should, from the start of your operation, you should be aware where risks might be. There might be available risk, and there will be threats in each of the operational processes. So you have to be aware of that so that you will be able to address it. Now, when it comes during the time that you have already been hacked, then it's important for the organization to have certain policies in place. Like, they have to assess to what extent the damage is, and then be able to address that and mitigate that and put in place actions to avoid such things from happening again. And then there is also the issue of telling their data subjects about what happened and assuring them that steps are being taken so that the same will not happen again. So this is why it is important also to have the data privacy by design, so that even at the onset, you will be able to identify already the possible risks and address them before it happens.
Great. Yeah. being prepared and then having the processes in place in advance of any kind of situation. Obviously, very important, right, to be proactive. Thank you for that. Sherwin, there's a question about the three. It says you mentioned the three models in framework development, namely professional, organization, and smart city models. Can you describe the as-is models versus where AEP wants to take these categories?
Um, I think okay. My understanding here is when you say as is models is what we currently have. I think as a country, as far as I know, the AAP is actually the first one to actually create this models, these frameworks, and we kind of created this 2 years. We started improving the frameworks and piloting those frameworks. We are going to be conducting several studies in 2021 that will measure the competencies of analytics professionals, the maturity of organizations, and how ready cities are, to become smart cities. Because we do need a baseline. We don't have a baseline as of yet from this framework. We were able to prove that these frameworks work when we pilot them in some organizations. So I would say that this is currently the as-is model that we have, and what we'd like to do again 2021 is create baselines out of these frameworks.
Great. Thanks for that. Kelly, there's a question. Also, a lot of people are thanking all of you for your presentations. How important is policy sellers' data in AI? Other than customers' data, is the sellers' data used in decision making in insurance companies?
Okay.
So I guess a question.
Yeah. So from my personal experience on working on a number of these types of projects, it really depends on what are we trying to use the data to solve for. For example, just let me give an examples of let's say when we are talking about insurance, okay. While in the marketing and product teams, the product teams, I should say more relevant, in thinking about, what is the customer need, and therefore what is the value proposition, and therefore the solutions or products to be developed for a customer, okay. And in reality, during the actual discussions with the, with the customer, oftentimes the agents are effective to solicit or to take out more information, depending on the skills of the agents, right? Some agents are more skillful. They're really good in really trying to understand the latent needs, identify all those. So essentially, at the end, what actually got recommended to the customer, oftentimes is quite dependent to some extent to the agent itself. So when we are talking about predictive models, obviously from that, if you look at from that perspective, it plays a role in figuring out, in actually, what the customer is buying. Similarly to the example that I share on claims, even though we don't think there's a lot of fraudulent cases happening, in reality, in the history, we know there are some whereby there is some sort of, network, convolutions between the certain doctors and the agents, for example. So from that perspective, the history, based on the history, we have found cases where the seller information is important as well. So I cannot say there's a blanket answer to that. It really depends on what types of problems we are talking about here.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. And just for asking everyone's indulgence, we will just go a few minutes over because we had a few gremlins at the start, and we've got lots of great questions. So we'll just go just a short time longer. Attorney Anna, there's a question. I think a lot of people are trying to better understand, what the regulations allow, what they don't allow, right? And specifically, they're asking about targeted selling, and is there a regulation against it, or is it prohibited, or how does targeted selling fit into the implementing regulations for the Data Privacy Act?
Yes, actually now there is no specific regulation as of regarding targeting selling or target selling. However, personal information controllers may be allowed to process information for purposes of marketing, for example, their existing clients, if it's compatible with the purpose for which the information was initially collected. However, if it's not for the compatible purposes, let's say if an insurance provider or let's say a bank which has a tie-up with an insurance would want to target their particular customer for additional products and services, it may be allowed. So that's also target marketing. It may be allowed as long as it's for a compatible purpose. But if it's not for compatible purposes, processing of information should have a separate lawful criterion. So the lawful criterion could be found in section 12 or 13 of the Data Privacy Act.
Great. And maybe we could also just give a plug. I know NPC has tremendous information to answer questions like this. Could you just mention the website that you have? And I know there's a lot of great materials there, not only the regulations, but a lot of guidance as well. So maybe we could direct our audience to that. If you could give a plug to the website.
Thank you so much, Colin. Yes, everybody could visit the National Privacy Commission's webpage. That's www.privacy.gov.ph. We have several advisory opinions, circulars, and advisories there, which can be relevant to the participants here of this seminar. It specifically provides guidance to different industries also, such as the insurance industries.
Great. Yeah, I've personally found a wealth of information there. So great there. So actually, I'm going to come back to you, Kelly. There's on this whole topic of using data. There's a question from Wilson in the audience about harvesting data for new insurance plans. For example, is it possible to tie up with things like Grab or Waze, for driving behavior, things like that? Is this something that is factored in to your products?
So that's definitely part of the thinking. I think I've mentioned that our company is quite ambitious to want to really help the general public to live healthy and longer, and to be able to do that, we are looking at all kinds of new service partner. Some of those that you mentioned, we definitely have been talking to. Obviously, I cannot share the stage of maturity of the discussions right now, but we are not excluding, in terms of who we partner with, and it would only make sense that we have to continue to expand the set of products that we offer. Beyond what we are doing now, if we are to really penetrate deeper and to expand that include, health protections inclusion.
Great. Okay, and then Sherwin, let me direct another sort of big picture question to you. Came from Donald, who's asking, what is the biggest paradigm change in order for an organization to embrace the power of data? So kind of a big picture question there.
Background first. I come from consulting company or consulting organizations. I think for all of my career, 20 something years from consulting organizations, from a consulting organization, the biggest paradigm change I would say is what I mentioned earlier. Analytics should be business driven. It should not be IT driven, and that more than anything, that from the clients that we have in these consulting organizations, that's the biggest mindset change that they have to really adopt or do if they want to be successful in becoming data-driven organizations. Normally, as consultants, when customers talk to us, the customers will usually be coming from the IT organization, and those are the people that we usually interact with. Consulting organizations right now who provide this analytics services, they are now actually asking for to talk with the business people apart from the IT whenever we have these consulting engagements, because we are now really pushing for all analytics initiatives, all analytics projects to have a direct connection with the business and not just with IT. So, I mean, some of the local organizations, some actually even of our international clients are still, struggling, with that idea. So I guess, I would say that's the biggest paradigm change that an organization should really work on if they really want to be data driven.
Great. Okay, and then I just have one final question for Anna and one final question for Kelly, and then we'll wrap. So, Attorney Anna, the question is from Rena. Can legitimate interest be used as a basis for direct marketing purposes to cold leads, i.e. not insurance clients, but clients of partners? Can you clarify that? You're muted.
Sorry.
Okay, there you go. Again, the question was about legitimate interest as a basis for direct marketing. Can you clarify how that works?
Yeah, for direct marketing, so there should always be a basis for it. If you're going to use legitimate interest as a basis for direct marketing, or for as a basis for processing of information, you should always take the threefold test. So if there is a necessity for it, if there is a lawful basis for it, so you should take that into consideration when you're using legitimate interest as the basis for processing of information.
Great. Thank you very much. And then I think a question for Kelly, considering Sherwin's advice about maturity on analytics, the question from the audience is, how does the Philippines rate in terms of analytics maturity in the insurance industry, maybe versus the broader region, the broader Southeast Asia region? Do you have a sense of that?
Yeah, so obviously the aspiration is for the company as a whole to get to, I think Sharon would describe it, level 5 in a lot of these different dimensions. We are in the process of getting there. Obviously, different, with 13 markets across the region, different markets are at different maturity level. And Philippines definitely is not quite there yet, but we are working closely with the local units to help developing those capabilities along the way. So yeah, I would just say stay tuned.
Yes, for
And
sure.
I hope that we get there sooner than what is taking the time there. So with a lot of the initiatives now, it's obvious that those initiatives can only get accelerated with the support of the local team. So yeah, I would just say, I think that in a way is a pull and stretch kind of scenario that the local team need to step up, and we'll help them to get there.
Right. Yeah, and it definitely is a journey, right? And I think even events like today are part of the process. If I can use this as a little segue to put in a plug for Analytics Association as well, it's just really great that we have member companies such as PruLife UK here in the Philippines. We can work together as part of the overall analytics system. So an opportunity, I think, to thank you, Kelly, for imparting your wisdom on the topic. Thank you so much, Attorney Anna, for helping us understand a little bit better. We got the message: be proactive. Plan things out in advance. Thank you, Sherwin, for giving us kind of the thought about maturity. Mana's gone, but he gave us a little bit of an overview of how we bring this ecosystem together, all of the various players. So do want to recommend you all to the Pulse app that PruLife has. Pretty impressive. I think it was mentioned already 2 million people have downloaded the app. So that's quite quite stunning, and it's great to see the success. Sherwin has it there on his phone, I see. So yeah, just encourage you all to just go online and check that out. And then finally, do visit our website. It's very simple. It's aap.ph, a nice short address, to check out information about the Analytics Association of the Philippines. If this is your first time being at one of our events, thank you for giving us your time this morning. And we do hope that you'll consider actually even becoming a member. So you can go to our website where there's a wealth of information about the association as well as about how to join. So thanks to the audience, thanks to the media members who attended, thanks to our panelists, thanks to PruLife. That will wrap up our event today, and wish you all a pleasant afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.